So, UFC 326 is going down this weekend. Holloway VS Olivera 2 and I King here MMA will be discussing each fight on the card. And yeah, let's get this thing started. Before we get it started, actually, Instagram is live. If you're coming from the YouTube to the Instagram, give a like, a follow. If you go onto the YouTube to the Instagram to the YouTube, give a subscribe, and yeah, let's get it started. Last time we did it from top to bottom. I didn't mind doing that. I think we're gonna, when we do these videos now, I'm gonna go to before the fights. I'm gonna go bottom to top, and then from after the fights, I'm gonna go top to bottom. So yeah, let's get it started. For the first fight on this card, we have Luke Fernandez versus Rodolfo Gelato, sorry. So Luke Fernandez, he got a nice KO on Dana White's Contender Series. He's a decent light heavyweight. He looks good. It's really hard to judge people off Dana White's Contender Series now because of how many people they sign. But he is versing Rodolfo Bellato. Rodolfo Bellato, I don't honestly know how I felt about him. He's literally got like a win, a draw, a no contest, and a loss on his record. It's super strange. But I'm just going to say this one thing. He got KO'd by Paul Craig, and that was the no contest. I just don't think Rodolfo Bellato is all that. So I'm going to go with Luke Fernandez by a TKO, probably a decision. And yeah, that's my pick for that fight. Luke Fernandez is $1.43 and Rodolfo Bellato is $2.83. I'm going to try and get the odds right every single time. So yeah, let's do it. Next fight, Rafael Tobias versus Dian Nurgajai. Rafael Tobias. I don't know much about Rafael Tobias, but I do know Dijan Nurgajai has lost his last two fights in the UFC, and it was just terribly. He's a big Kazakhstan sort of fellow. He lost to, I don't know how to say, Uran Setabayev by submission. He's real bad off the ground, Nurgajai. Like, both times I've seen him fight, he's pretty terrible off the ground. He was supposed to be this big undefeated bloke, and he lost to Brendan Ribeiro. That is such a shocking loss in light heavyweight. So I'm going to choose Rafael Tobias to win by a submission. He's just a TKO. I just don't know how they keep Brendan Ribeiro sucks. No, sorry Ribeiro, but you do. He's one of the worst light heavyweights. So I got Rafael Tobias by a TKO. So yeah, this fight changed, didn't it? I don't know why. Anyway, the odds are Rafael Tobias is $1.52 and Nurgajai is $2.50. So yeah, that's that fight. And for the next fight, we have Sumadaji versus Jesus Aguilar. Both half decent fighters. Sumadaji, I think a lot of people give him shit for no reason. Sumadaji, he was on a 3-fight losing streak, mind you. He's come back to the UFC. His last 3 losses were his last loss was Charles Johnson, and he's won against Mitch Raposo and Kevin Borjas. Kevin Borjas isn't the highest level of fighter. He's going to decisions with these guys, which is, it's whatever. And Jesus Aguilar, he's looked pretty good in all these fights, man. I think Jesus Aguilar, he's just looked really good. He finished Stuart Nickel from Australia. Stuart Nickel was an undefeated fighter. Lost to Rafael Esteban. Rafael Esteban fringed top 20 in the flyweight division. And, you know, he beat the shit out of Lewis Gruel. Now, mind you, Lewis Gruel just lost his fight to Luna. I forget his name, the Mexican dude. I think Jesus Aguilar is going to get it. I was going to choose Sumadaji, but, you know, Sumadaji's going to the decisions with absolute bums. I think Jesus Aguilar should get it done by a possible submission or decision. I'm going to go decision for Jesus Aguilar. And yeah. But the only thing I don't like about this fight is Sumadaji has a 5'8". He's got 4 inches on him. Shit. It's real hard. This is actually pick'em. I just the people Sumadaji's going to decisions with. Yeah, Lewis Garul isn't actually the highest level opponent when you think about it. Stuart Nickel has lost both his fights in the UFC. I'm going with Sumadaji by decision. I think that reach is just going to be a massive problem for Jesus Aguilar. And yeah, on to the next fight. We have Cody Durden versus Dirk. I can't say this guy's name. I'm not going to even try. I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen this other guy fight. Oh, I nearly done it again. Sumadaji's $1.40 and Jesus Aguilar's $2.80. So yeah. Yeah, but Dirk versus Cody Durden. Cody Durden sucks. That's my phrase on this channel. On my very small channel, Cody Durden sucks. I'm going with Dirk by I'm gonna say a TKO submission. Like, I'm even looking at their records. Who the hell's Terrence Saturn? Genuinely do not know who that guy is. But I know just Cody Durden's looked terrible. And a lot of people are going to try and be like, oh, he beat Matt Schnell 3 years ago. Like, Matt Schnell sucks. He's chinny as hell. So, yeah, I'm going with Dirk by submission. You know, he's an up-and-coming prospect. And, yeah, this is... Cody Durden's definitely going to prove me wrong now that I've said this. For the next fight, we have Ricky Tercios versus Alberto Montez. Cody Durden's $2.30 and Dirk is $1.60. So yeah, but yeah, let's get on the next fight. We have Ricky Tercios versus Alberto Montez. Ricky Tercios, I don't know how he's still in the UFC. He's like 5-2, but it's like he lost a submission to Raw Roses Jr., which is a bit whatever. He lost to Bernardo Sopaj. Bernardo Sopaj is actually half decent. But I think this Alberto Montez, you know, this is his debut in the UFC. I think I've seen a little bit of his regional stuff. Guy was a 145er. I think he's going to submit Ricky Tercios. He's just terrible on the ground. His striking isn't really that great. I'm going to go Alberto Montez by a submission in the first round. Alberto Montez is $1.50 while Ricky Tercios is $2.50. Yeah, on to the next fight. We have... this ain't going up. Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. Dante Johnson, he finished Tariq Dumas, had a nasty knockout on the Dana White Contender Series, and then submitted Cody Durden. Not Cody Durden. Fuck, got Cody Durden in my head. He submitted Tariq Dumas. You know, Tariq Dumas kind of sucks. But Dante Johnson, if you've seen this guy, he's a fucking physical freak. And he just looks like... You know, he just looks powerful. He's going to be knocking dudes out a heavyweight on the regional scene. Cody Brundage, he's making a quick turnaround after Anthony Smith maxing on the Australia card. I'm just going to go Dante Johnson by first round KO. But Cody Brundage, man, he has me worried, man. Cody Brundage, he's one of those guys. This is one of those, like, you think Dante Johnson's just going to run through him, and then somehow Cody Brundage just comes out of nowhere and possibly gets a TKO. Because he was dogging it through that Cam Ruston fight. You could arguably gave him that first round. I know. Very, very controversial, but yeah, I think Dante Johnson's just going to finish Brundage in the first round with a nasty knockout. Biggest favourite on the card, Dante Johnson's $1.10 and Cody Brundage is $6. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this fight. On to the best fighter of all time for 25 minutes, Cody Garbrandt. Bro, he looks goofy as shit with his tattoo now. And the mustache ain't helping. So, Cody Garbrandt, we all know who he is. Best fighter for 25 minutes against Dominic Cruz. You know, that fight was actually a lot closer than people think. The people he's lost to in his last two fights, mind you, David Figueiredo is washed, I reckon, but he's losing to literally Umar Nurmagomedov and Cody Garbrandt. Umar Nurmagomedov and Corey Sandhagen. And Rani Barcelos, bro, he's on like a 5-fight, 6-fight win streak. And before that, you know, he knocked out Brian Kelleher and got a decision with Trevin Jones, but that was years ago. And Zhao Long, he KO'd Quan Lee, but Quan Lee sucks. And he got outstruck by Song Yong Yu. This is where we find out how washed Cody Garbrandt is. Because, like, we know Cody Garbrandt's washed, but we don't know how washed he is. Cody Garbrandt should outstrike Zhao Long. If Cody Garbrandt gets chinned by Zhao Long somehow, I don't even know what to say. I'm going to go Cody Garbrandt by crafty decision. He's going to, try and fucking aura farm on Buddy Zhao Long. But that's one of those moments where I could see him getting chinned. So I'm going to go Cody Garbrandt by decision. Don't you dare prove me wrong, Cody. Cody Garbrandt is $2.20. He's the underdog. Wow. And Zhao Long's $1.60. So, yeah. And onto the... hold on, I just need the... Nope. So, before I mention anything, it looks like we don't have Gaston Balanos. Looks like something's happened there. He's an Ilia Topuria clone. But that doesn't matter. Let's go on to Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. This is a rematch. So, Gregory Rodriguez, he's been looking really good in the middleweight division. Has had some really tough fights. Had a nasty knockout over Jack Hermanson. And in his last fight, outstruck Roman Kopylov. But, yeah, man, like, his last... I'm going to say 4 fights because, like, this is within a 2-year span. Beat the fuck out of Christian Leroy Duncan. Got KO'd by Jared Cannonier. Mind you, he hurt Cannonier real bad. Cannonier goes to war with everyone. He's still a top 10 middleweight. Knocked out Jack Hermanson in such brutal fashion. Had a really good fight with Roman Kopylov. G-Rod should probably be a top 10 fighter right now, but he's going to have to rematch Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira knocked him out like in 2022, I want to say. But I'm going to be honest, Bruno Ferreira's run's kind of fraudulent. Like, if we look at his last 3 fights, Armin Petrosian, I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. Jackson McVeigh, who the hell is this Jackson McVeigh? Who is Jackson McVeigh? He's not even in the UFC anymore. Dana White Contender Series guy submitted him. And he went to war with Marvin Vettori. Arguably, Marvin Vettori could have won two rounds. I'm not saying that. But, listen. He lost to Abus Magomedov. I don't really rate Abus. He's an unranked fighter. And it's a fraudulent record if you ask me. If Marvin's washed at the age of 32, and that's his best win. His best win is actually in front of him, Gregory Rodriguez. I think Gregory Rodriguez is gonna get a TKO of Bruno Ferreira. I just have a feeling that it's not gonna go like last time. I feel like G-Rod has definitely upped his game. Let me be clear. I think Gregory Rodriguez is going to win by a decision or TKO in the third round. So, yeah. Gregory Rodriguez is $1.55 and Bruno Ferreira is $2.50. So, yeah. That's that fight. And on to the next, bro. My favorite, one of my favorite unks, Michael Johnson versus Drew Dober. Look at these records, man. 28, 15, and 1 no contest, and 25, 19, and 0. And I'm going to say this. I think Michael Johnson should knock out Drew Dober. I know Drew Dober's famous for knocking out black guys. We all know this. We all know that's what Drew Dober's famous for. But he looks kind of like shocking. Like his last 2 wins were Kyle Prepelec. Kyle Prepelec was beating the shit out of Drew Dober. If you don't remember that fight, for the first 2 rounds, Kyle Prepelec outstruck and outdone Drew Dober. Kyle Prepelec is like one of the lowest ranked lightweights. He kicked him in the nuts, got his second win, and basically Drew Dober finished Kyle Prepelec in the third round. But who Drew Dober's losing to is actually not terrible. Like, he's lost to Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres is like fucking dangerous, man. John Silva, top 5 mid featherweight, and Renato Moicano. I don't know, and that was a decision. But Michael Johnson, man, I don't know when people like call him washed and stuff, because like if we look at his last 3 fights, beat the shit out of Daniel Zellhuber. Now, mind you, King Green just knocked him out. KO'd Ottoman Azaitar, and beat the shit out of Darius Flowers. And he was beating Diego Ferreira before he got, knocked out. He was beating Diego Ferreira easily in that fight. And, I think Michael Johnson's just he's just not as washed. I think he's better than Drew Dober. So, yeah, I'm going to go Michael Johnson by a first or second round KO. Drew Dober is $2 and Michael Johnson's $1.80. But this is a 50-50 fight because I think Michael Johnson's going to break the Drew Dober knocks out black guys curse. Or Drew Dober just honestly hates black guys and he's just going to knock out Michael Johnson. So, yeah. Yeah, that's that fight. And for the featured fight of the night, Rob Font versus Raw Roasters Jr. Chihuahuas. This is a strange matchup. I have a real weird feeling. Wow, okay. So Rob Font, he's kind of the gatekeeper of bantamweight. He has been for the last couple of years. Lost to David Martinez. Mind you, that was a really close fight. David Martinez just beat the shit out of Cheeto Vera. Beat John Massamoto. That is a really good aging win, by the way, by Rob Font. Just out-unked him. Experienced him. Beat Kyler Phillips, got a nice decision over him. And his last losses, besides the David Martinez loss, his last 2 losses were Davis Figueiredo and Corey Sandhagen. Which, at the time, Figueiredo wasn't as washed, and Corey Sandhagen's still a top 5 bantamweight. While Raw Roasters Jr., like I said, he's got a fraudulent record as well. His last 4 wins was Vince Morales. Who the fuck's me, Vince Morales? Orichi Lang. Lost that first round clearly. Was getting outstruck, outdone. Ricky Tercios. We just discussed how mid he is. And who the hell's Terrence Mitchell? He was literally a random dude they just picked off at the street. And it's like, hey kid, how do you feel about getting knocked out by an 18-year-old? Legitimately, that's who Terrence Mitchell is. And then C-Rod exposed him pretty, a couple of years back. I think Rob Font's gonna, if it makes sense, I think Raw Roasters Jr. is on a little bit of a fraudulent run. I think Rob Font's a big step up for Raw Roasters Jr. I think Rob Font's going to get a crafty vet decision over Raw Roasters Jr. So I've got Rob Font by decision. But oi, this is the sort of matchmaking that the UFC makes and be like, hold on, wait a second. Why is Raw Roses Jr. getting such a decent step up in competition? But I digress. Rob Font is $3 and Raw Roses Jr. is $1.40. So yeah. On to the next. We have the co-main. What a shit co-main. I'm sorry to say that, but Carvalho versus Reina de Ritter. Great matchup. Not a great co-main. Sorry. This card's pretty weak. I'm sorry, but a BMF headlining it's kind of crap. Anyway, let's get on to the fight. We have Carvalho. He's looked pretty good in the UFC. Went to war with Imavov. Actually, it was a great fight. Did he finish Cannonier? Just trying to think. I swear he knocked out Cannonier. It says he went to decision. Anyway, he had a war with Imavov. Then, I know he beat the shit out of Jared Cannonier. Knocks out. Who doesn't? Who does that to Paul Craig? Everyone knocks out Paul Craig. But yeah, bit of a, not going to say fraudulent because Jared Cannonier is a pretty good win. The Nasruddin Imavov fight, he was just a step behind in the striking the whole time. And Reina de Ritter, I don't want to say this, but he quit against Brendan Allen. I think, now, this is me coping. I didn't choose Reina de Ritter. I actually chose Brendan Allen. But I think that was a case of him cutting weight. If you know how big Reina de Ritter is, that is him cutting weight 4 times in a consecutive year and probably not doing it properly. The dude's like a 205er too, like a proper 205er cutting the middleweight. It's weird, but I think Reina de Ritter's run of I don't think he was himself in that fight against Brendan Allen. That Robert Whittaker fight, bro, that just showed me a lot. I don't know how washed we know Robert Whittaker is. We got to see him in his next fight. But this is a really hard fight to choose. People are like, oh, he's going to quit on the stool. This is really hard to choose. I think Carvalho is going to get a crafty decision. This is a 3-rounder. I think Carvalho, he's with the fighting nerds, they are real smart at game planning. But he has one sort of move, I could see Reina de Ritter coming in with those nasty knees, with his good jiu-jitsu. But I think Carvalho, since he's I think Carvalho does well in a 3-round fight, not a 2-round fight. I think Reina de Ritter does better in a 5-round fight, where he did better in those later rounds against Robert Whittaker. But I think Carvalho is going to beat Reina de Ritter by decision. I don't really see a finish from either of them. Bahalio is tough, man. I've got to give him credit. I think he's the most overrated fighting nerd. But yeah, I think Bahalio by decision. Cal Bahalio's $1.40 and Reina de Ritter's $3.10. So yeah, good fight. And now, the fight we've been waiting for. Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. Hi guys, it's Charles Oliveira. Is what it is, brother. Is what it is. I've already made a video. I'm putting them out back to back, the day before the fights. Terrible of me, I know. I was supposed to do it during the week, but I get caught up with life. This fight, I don't think it's 50-50. A lot of people are saying this is a 50-50 guy. I could see Charles Oliveira. Yes, Charles Oliveira is definitely 100% got the submission threat against Max Holloway. He gets into the ground somehow. There's some weird exchange where Max gets dropped, Charles gets on top and gets a sub. I could 100% see that. But for some reason, I have a feeling that Max Holloway is just going to, he's going to do what he did against Gaethje and Ilya, before he got slimed out by Ilya. I think Charles is going to rush forward. I think that first round's going to be a very feeling out process. I don't think it's going to happen in the first round. I'd be shocked. I think that second, third round, though, Max is going to pump up the volume. He's going to start 6, 8, 12, 14 punch combinations. Charles is going to get overwhelmed. I'm not saying Charles is a quitter because he's proven lately he's not quitting. But I think the volume that Max announces, Charles has never fought a volume striker like Max. I can't remember the last time that Max has fought a volume striker. Charles has fought a volume striker. He's fought very crisp like power boxers. He's fought like good all rounders. But he's never fought a volume boxer like Max. I think Max has that crisp volume where and he's really good in the scrap. We've been seeing Charles Oliveira's training for the point down. Charles Oliveira will not survive that unless he cleans him with a 1-2 down the middle, which, Charles swings a lot, man. He swings a lot of his shots. I think Max Holloway is going to win by a second or third round KO. I think Charles is going to go to his back a couple times, and I really think Max is going to slime him out. I think it's going to be like a nasty TKO. I don't think it's going to be a total slime out, but I think it's going to be a nasty, nasty TKO by Max Holloway. And it's a fucking silver belt for God's sake, but I think Max is just like, not saying he's just hitting his prime because, but Max is just, I think, a different level in the striking compared to Oliveira. And I think it favors Max in a longer fight. Like we don't see Charles go past 2-3 rounds most of the time anyway. So I've got Max Holloway by a TKO in the third round. And yeah, but this is a super exciting fight, man. Like, this is the fight I'm excited for. And not gonna lie, Michael Johnson as well. I don't know why. Like, Michael Johnson is just one of my favorite unks of the UFC. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for this fight on the card. The rest of the card's okay. It's a 6 out of 10, But listen, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you're from the Instagram to the YouTube, follow the Instagram, follow the YouTube. I need a few subs on the channel. And yeah, I'll see you all later. Thanks. Bye.